Might potential absences at wide receiver mean more tight endage for the New England Patriots starting this weekend against the Raiders? We'll tell you, so stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Patriots is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, so smash that subscribe button, download, subscribe to, follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your podcasts. Today's episode brought to you by our friends over at BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So drop me a line. Let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. While you're out there languishing through the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. And your New England Patriots, folks, sit at 7-6 in that all-important seventh and final playoff seed. What do the Patriots have to do to maintain that spot? Well, maybe getting the tight ends involved in offense might help to spark this offense a little bit. And if we're talking tight endage, folks, who better to join us each and every Wednesday than the esteemed Countess of Clare herself? She is a columnist extraordinaire for Pat's Propaganda, as well as the host of her very own podcast, The Clare Perspective, on Full Press Coverage Patriots. ClazzyClare Cooper joins me today. And Claire, we are going to talk some tight endage. I can see the smile on your face already. Everybody's excited. They know what's coming, but we're going to shelve it just for a moment because the breaking news, or I should say the pertinent news of the day, excuse me, folks, is the health of wide receiver DeVante Parker. And this could have a ripple effect on the tight endage. We'll get into that in just a moment, folks. But Claire, the NFL and the NFL Players Association yesterday declaring that they're going to be reviewing the manner in which DeVante was removed from the game in the first quarter following a hit to the head. He got up. The broadcast showed that he really was having some difficulty maintaining his balance. Troy Aikman on the color commentary said, guy doesn't look right. Nelson Aguilar waving over to the officials trying to get their attention, but the official spotter did not stop the game. And that is what's being investigated right now. It took a challenge flag from Cliff Kingsbury in order to get DeVante off the field, but now that he's off and he went back to the locker room, got evaluated, immediately ruled out. Claire, when you look at this situation, it is difficult to pinpoint injuries right on the spot. We understand that, but a designated spotter, I mean, this is an unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant is technically the job title of this individual. That's their job, to be able to do this. If they're not doing their job, something needs to change. Are the NFL and the NFL Players Association right in their assessment here in reviewing this matter? Because it looks like something that really deserves a little bit more of an explanation.
Well, yeah, of course. Definitely look into this, as you said, review it as they are. So the thing with concussion, it's a very volatile situation at the moment in regards to concussion. Ever since, I mean, it should be in the NFL anyway, and it has been for a while. It is one of those things that they're taking very seriously, and they continue to take it more and more seriously. And obviously, the catalyst was when we saw Tua a few weeks ago now with that, that terrible second trauma and, the paralyzation of his fingers and things like that. And having that on the screen just really hit home and just really really gave us a display of what these sort of injuries, the severity and the significance. And so, yeah, obviously it's an important situation. The one thing that sort of did just cross my mind as when it's being discussed is, I've got to admit, I didn't see it at first. I've since watched obviously tape, and I've since watched on social media clips that very significantly pinpoint it, and you can see him being helped up. You can see that he's shaken, and the clip where Aguilar is waving.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is going to go down to human error, and I mean, that's not an excuse, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but I didn't notice it, and I'm watching the whole game. But then there's that flip side of, but it's not my job to notice it. I think the fact that Aguilar did flag it up is key, because something that Bill Belichick said, I believe after the game, or since on the radio, apologies, and I'm not quoting him verbatim or anything like that, just sort of giving you the gist of what he said was, the players are there, they're in there. It's easy for them to see the situation, so it's important sort of for them to speak up, which it is, and I fully believe that. I mean, at the end of the day, who knows you better really on the field than your teammates?
Right.
Who are going to naturally see your behavior be slightly off or out or different is going to be the guys that you train with, the guys that you're with there all the time. Now, I'm not putting the responsibility on the team at all, but they are a good key, a good significant, a good first line of defense, if you like, to sort of pinpoint these things. I think the thing that kind of got me more so than it not being caught by the spotter, if you like, is the fact that it then took such a while for Aguilar to be taken seriously, that kind of thing. I think I'm a little bit at this stage, a little bit more concerned with these things are kind of easy to miss. He was helped up, and he kind of got back in on the line. So it's like, okay, well, as far as who are watching the game, it's sort of not really air apparent that he had an issue as such. When you watch it as a whole, when you watch obviously the clips very significantly, you can see the issue, but when you're just watching the game as a whole, he lines back up, that sort of thing. But Aguilar notices, and he knows straight away, and he's waving and he's making attention. And I think that's the thing that had me a little bit more concerned, was that bit was missed more so as well, because he was making, he was very visually sort of flagging down and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree with probably everybody else that's sort of discussed this since Monday night, of that looking into it is a good factor. My concern is you can only do so much when it comes to these things, and we have to understand that, and it's the way of the sport, and as terrible it is the way of the sport. But the one thing that I saw on social media that surprised me, considering how the NFL are being now with concussion protocols and how they should be, is the fines that are given to individual players. Now, I know circumstances are different, but I saw on some social media, I can't credit it because I don't actually have down, I just noted down the amounts, that the NFL player who kind of caused the concussion on Jacoby Myers was fined just under $5,000, and uniform violations commence at over $5,000. And it's like, when you just look at that in black and white, it doesn't show the NFL taking it very seriously, but we know that they are, by looking into it. So yeah, I think it's important that they go down the route of investigating it, as we've said, as nobody's going to deny. But I do believe that the one thing that needs to sort of, I use the word change loosely, because it isn't really a change as such. It's sort of being taken more into consideration, is that communication from the players. As it was said, as I mentioned with regards to Bill Belichick, the team is sort of the first line of defense. They see these individuals, they see these guys acting a kind of out of character. It's that they should be taken seriously. They should be noticed when they're sort of waving people down of, look, my guy's not right, sort of thing. And it need that significantly really needs to be looked at, I believe.
Absolutely. I think you make a very, very good point. And I'm glad that you mentioned the fines, because obviously they're two separate issues. They're two separate entities here, but they are related when it comes to the Jacoby Myers concussion. Damar Hamlin is the Bills safety that you're referring to. $4,806 was the fine that he levied for the hit. By comparison, Mac Jones flicks the ball at AJ Epinesa, linebacker or defensive end, I should say, for the Buffalo Bills. Mac is charged $10,609. So a little bit of a discrepancy there for a flick of a ball as opposed to a hit that knocked Jacoby out of action for a little while. Definitely for this past week against the Cardinals. And then, of course, his status right now is in jeopardy for the Raiders game coming up on Sunday. And we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But I did want to get back to the nature of your point, and that is, the changes that were to have been made after Tua Tagovailoa and the situation that happened with him with the Miami Dolphins, they specifically inserted new rules, new regulations to make sure that something like this did not happen again. And I'm reading directly from the rule book here, and that the concussion spotter is responsible for evaluating abnormality of balance, stability, motor coordination, or dysfunctional speech. Now, again, nobody is perfect. Every word is human, and there is a situation and a
Mhm.
problem where
Exactly.
spotters can be missed, things can happen. But I think you made an articulate and well thought out point. Nelson Aguilar waving this over and trying to get the attention of the officials or someone to come over and be able to take care of DeVante is something that should have happened. That needs to be a part of this investigation. And to his credit, DeVante Parker took to social media yesterday. Little bit of an expletive in there, folks. If you want to check
Mm.
that out, I wrote about it yesterday for Sports Illustrated. Check that out on si.com/NFL/Patriots, where he essentially got on the NFL, but he also said, thankful for my brother who was aware of the situation, and he tagged Nelson Aguilar in that post. So good on Nelson to be able to do that. Bill Belichick mentioned it yesterday as well, as you said. Definitely a situation where the most important thing is DeVante's health, and hopefully that will be, as good as it can be in short order, and he's able to return to the field as soon as possible. But if he does not return to the field as soon as possible, folks, what does it mean for the Patriots offense? Well, New England may have unlocked a secret, a well hidden, well kept secret. No, I'm lying, folks. It's not a well hidden, well kept secret. It's basically what we've been telling everyone all along. Get the tight
It
ends
is.
involved. When you do, things will happen. And Claire and I are going to talk about what will happen to the New England Patriots offense if Hunter Henry is unleashed a little bit more. Stick around. We'll be back in just a moment. But first, this episode is brought to you by Audible. Audible is releasing a slate of new football podcasts that we're sure you're going to love. That's why you'll be able to find a sneak peek of Think Like a Champion available right now as a bonus episode on Locked On Presents. Think Like a Champion is a brand new podcast from Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson and Audible. Russell Wilson, alongside co hosts Harry Wilson and the late Trevor Moawad, digs into how high performance athletes, artists, and leaders push the boundaries of their potential. It's available on Audible or wherever you get your podcasts. So head over to Locked On Presents for a sneak peek of Think Like a Champion, or catch the full series available anywhere you get your podcasts. It's available everywhere now. Audible, get in the game. Patriots fans, it's always an issue and it's always interesting when you're trying to make the right hire. And these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. And that is why you checked out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team. They help you do it faster. And here's the best part, folks, they help you do it for free. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs the number one in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to, and they help you do it faster. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Patriots fans, the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda and Full Press Coverage Patriots joins me. Claire, when you look at the New England Patriots offense as a whole, and you look at what this team does well as opposed to what they're still struggling with, Mac Jones continues to be under constant pressure. Every game is about him trying to beat the blitz. He did it on Monday night against the Arizona Cardinals, utilizing the quick game, getting the ball out of his hands very quickly. I think on average he was shedding the ball within 2.1 seconds, which is very quick.
Mhm.
Mac has had some frustrations with the quick game. We've seen some of the expletive tirades on the sidelines, but ultimately, where this team really finds its success is utilizing play action and utilizing the seam routes. And I can already see it, folks. If you're watching, you can see the budding smile. If you're listening, folks, trust me, there is a grin from ear to ear because we are about to mention one of Claire's favorite subjects, and that is tight endage. Hunter Henry, when unleashed on the seam route, can be a real effective weapon for Mac Jones. We saw him go for 2 big yardage gains on the seam routes, one for 30, one for 39 yards, setting up touchdowns, getting the Patriots deep into territory. Even if I think he should be utilized in the red zone a little bit more, Patriots
Okay.
need to do more of this. Do you think that maybe the usage of Hunter Henry, maybe going as far back as the Thanksgiving game against the Vikings, right up until what we saw with the Cardinals on Monday night, is this the catalyst that finally wakes up the sleeping giant here?
I do hope so. I really do hope so. And I'm glad that you kind of mentioned in regards to the fact that they utilize the seam a little bit. However, I think the downside of what they've been doing recently is screen passes. And in the Monday night game specifically, there was 12 screen passes. And Mac hasn't had any more than 7 in a game in 2020, since 2021. Sorry, in 2021. Sorry. Now, the screen pass, as if there's anybody listening who doesn't know, because I'm learning these things as I go along as well. So a screen pass is a short pass to a wide receiver or running back that is disguised as a deep pass and features a line of blockers in front of the ball carrier. Now, we all know that the Patriots don't necessarily have a very good line of blockers at the moment because the O-line is weak. So for them to fall back on so many screen passes just feels like they're doing the thing that's wrong, that they can see that they need to do the least amount of. And they did, with regards to Hunter Henry, the thing that they need to do in regards to utilizing the seam. Now, folks, Hunter only had 3 targets, 3 receptions. Yes, he had 70 yards. Yes, we're saying, oh, didn't he do well? Yeah, he did, because he's been utilized so little. However, if you look at those numbers in general, that's really slim pickings when it comes to tight endage usage. And I mean, Jonnu Smith, it's like you want to go, who? I'm sorry, what now? Jonnu who now? Because he's just not being utilized either. And I think a lot of it obviously is going to be scheming and play calling because of Matt Patricia having the issues that Matt Patricia may be having at the moment. So the one thing that sort of concerns me about being too enthusiastic and too excited about the utilization of Hunter Henry is the Cardinals defense isn't known for being particularly great against tight ends anyway. So yeah, that's a little bit of a smoke screen as an example. And I think we need to take like the bigger picture. And at the moment, the bigger picture of the rest of the season that we've already had isn't utilizing the Titans very much. And it's something that obviously has been up and down this season. And we've talked about in regards to, so with regards to it being the catalyst, I don't know. It's disconcerting as a tight endage enthusiast that they you can see what's good, you can see what needs to be utilized, and they're just not doing it. But I think it's just some of the frustrations of the 2022 season, really, as a Patriots fan. So let's hope it is the catalyst that they are utilizing, even if they don't utilize Jonnu Smith very much, because that seems to be a key that doesn't seem to be fitting the locker every week. We just don't really kind of quite get to the bottom of that. However, we've seen that game, the Cardinals game specifically, that they know how to utilize Hunter Henry, that they've got the dynamic between Mac Jones and Hunter. And he's an okay blocker, he's a reasonable blocker, and he's a good pass catcher, and he's good in the end zone. So it's just like, come on, we can see it. Can't you see it? You can see how successful it is. So I'm getting too excited now. I can't even say the words anymore. But yeah, I would caution people, as myself, as a Titan enthusiast, just to not get too excited this for the rest of this year, because we've seen it in spits and starts so far in 2022. So it's something that we know is successful. Does Matty P know it's successful? Maybe we shall see against the Raiders. So time will tell. The one thing in regards to going against the Raiders is you're going against Josh McDaniels, and he knows your play calling. He knows the Patriots playbook. So they need to mix it up. And you'd argue that using tight ends this year is mixing it up. It is, but it's not mixing it up when it comes to the Patriots playbook, because since this year we've seen it more. So it's one of those. I don't know if, as we roll into the Vegas game on Sunday night, if the utilization of the tight ends will go up for that game, because they need to get cute. They need to mix things up. They need to scheme things up and stuff like this to really throw off the Raiders. So I caution, do not fret if the utilization doesn't increase in regards to against the Raiders. I'm hoping that it then increases for the last little bit of the season, but really, even with a crystal ball, I don't think any of us can tell that at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can tell it any at the moment or maybe even in the moment because the way
No.
that the offense has been called has been very predictable, very conservative, very safe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're also looking at plays that are being left out there on the field. And that's where a lot of the frustration that Mac has is coming from. He's
Hmm.
yelling about trying to get the play call off. Bill Belichick talked about this yesterday on his appearance on WEEI. We all want to get the play call off on time and in a timely fashion. And this is frustrating Mac. And he's talking to Matt Patricia each and every day, each and every week about it. These guys get caught up in the heat of the moment, and you see tirades on the sideline, and it leads you to believe that, dogs and cats living together mass hysteria is going on in Foxborough. Probably not as bad as people would think in that regard, but there clearly is frustration and a disconnect, and that connection has to be mended. And you
Hmm.
mend it by utilizing what you do very well. Now, injury could be the great equalizer here because Ramondre Stevenson, we're not sure how he's going to be able to bounce back from the ankle injury. We're hearing positive things on Ramondre. He wasn't walking around with a
Hmm.
boot or any type of apparatus after the game on Monday, so that's a good sign. But does that mean that he's ready for a quick turnaround on Sunday with one less day to recuperate? That's something that we're going to have to watch this week in practice, whether or not his
Yeah.
status or his practice participation level is elevated, or he becomes a little bit more of a participant each day, or if they're taking a temperate approach with him. Something to watch. The other thing to watch, bringing back full circle, DeVante Parker, concussion protocol, not looking good for his ability to suit up for Sunday. Jacoby Myers, is he going to be able to come back? Concussion protocol is something the league is taking very seriously, especially now with DeVante Parker under
Yeah.
the gun. You want to make sure that these guys are 100% ready to go when they step back out onto the field. So if the New England Patriots are without their top two wideouts, does that by default mean that the tight endage gets a little more involved? Well, you know what, folks? We're not going to leave this to just mere fate. We're not going to leave it to just chance. We're going to seek the wisdom and counsel of a little clairvoyance. And that's exactly what we're going to do when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, talking more tight endage in just a moment. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our good friends at betonline.net, your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. You can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and even the winding down World Cup, which is exciting. We've got it all at betonline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're the fastest, the easiest way to get your betting info. So head over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Patriots fans, we are about to wrap things up here on Locked On Patriots with our good friend, the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper of Pat's Propaganda and Full Press Coverage Patriots. And Claire, we've been talking a little bit about your favorite subject, tight endage, and in the vein of your wisdom and counsel, you have become one of our favorite voices in being a prognosticator of prognosticators. And that's exactly where we're going to wrap things up today because, folks, don't worry. She may be the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper, but she is also our very own famous sage and soothsayer, the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-omniscient Countess of Claz. That's right, folks. It's time for a little clairvoyance. And Claire is going to read some tea leaves, some tight endage tea leaves. They've been hermetically sealed and kept in an ancient ceramic kettle on the shelf over at Locked On headquarters. They've been there since noontime on Sunday. Now, no one, not even the illustrious ClazzyClare Cooper, knows the contents of these tea leaves until now. So, Countess, I put the question to you. DeVante Parker, Jacoby Myers, unfortunately dealing with head injuries right now, serious issues. The New England Patriots have to be very careful about putting them out on the field. And I don't mean to make light on that subject. I'm certainly not doing that. But
No.
having your top two wideouts absent puts an awful lot of pressure on guys like Tyquan Thornton and obviously, Kendrick Bourne to rise to the occasion and to be
Mhm.
two entities that can be pass catching options for Mac Jones. Ramondre Stevenson is a very adept back at catching the ball out of the backfield, but He's banged up and may not be 100%. If there was ever a time that the New England Patriots needed to test the waters of their two tight ends to be pertinent pass catchers in this offense, this seems to be it. I ask you to look into the tea leaves. Oh, Countess. Oh, great one. And let us know, do you believe this is the week against the Las Vegas Raiders that we see the two tight end sets really come alive here for the New England Patriots?
See, I'm torn because as a tight end enthusiast, as we mentioned, I do really hope so, because the one thing that brings me even more joy when I watch a Patriots game is tight end catches. The squeals are heard apparently in Boston. So, it's one of those. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, when we were talking about Hunter's kind of progress and what he did in the game against Cardinals, the one thing that has me reserved about utilizing the tight ends is the mixing it up so that McDaniels doesn't know what's going on. And I think that's the way that the Patriots are going to win this game against the Raiders. They need to be kind of unpatrioty, if you like. And that's how I believe that they're going to win against McDaniels, really. Now, you could argue that this season, a little unpatriotiness would be to utilize the tight ends because they haven't been utilizing them. So I think it's one of those sort of catch-22s. I mean, as you mentioned, Stevenson could possibly be out. But I got to say, the Cardinals game, Strong and Kevin Harris seem to be performing pretty well. So you've got rookies out there.
No question.
Bourne was used a little bit more, and I think that's significant because he's a good wide receiver. I think he should be used a little bit more. Concerns over using Nelson Aguilar a little bit more with his ball security issues. So I'm a little bit kind of on the fence in regard to that one. I think maybe it needs to be a spreading the ball around. Let's not kind of depend too much on the running game. Let's not depend too much on the tight ends. Let's really spread it around. Let's mix it up. Let's make McDaniels guess. And I think that's kind of what's going to be more key than really putting in motion of utilizing the tight ends more significantly, as successful as it was using Hunter Henry. As I mentioned previously, the Cardinals defense isn't known to be great against tight ends. So it kind of lends itself to smoke screening that, the significance of, what the success of Hunter Henry. Now, I'm not knocking it down or anything like that. I'm just sort of trying to put it into a little bit of perspective from that. So before we rush out and be kind of like, yes, it's the most successful thing, it's kind of temper it a little bit. And really, the tea leaves seem to think that it's a spreading out situation. That's what we need to do. It's spreading out, spread the ball out, keep them guessing. Yes, utilize the tight ends. Just don't rely too heavily on one thing so that the Patriots continue to be this offense that's so predictable, so obvious. Stop doing that. I think that's more of what's going to be a key to success, if you like, than really utilizing Hunter, even though we know it's successful. It's stop being too obvious, stop being too obvious. Just said that. But yeah, stop being too obvious and kind of mixing it up. Don't be predictable. Get McDaniels guessing. And I think this is the big key to success, rather than be concerned without having really pinpointing the tight ends. Let's pinpoint everybody so that it's difficult to be the predictable team that they've been so far this season.
Yeah, I think there's arguments for and arguments against, to be honest with you. I mean, in the against column, Josh McDaniels knows these guys very well. He coached them last year. He coached Hunter Henry. He coached Jonnu Smith. He's been around guys like Rob Gronkowski and Martellus Bennett and, Aaron Hernandez and guys like that have a lot of skill set and a lot of ability to be able to be dual threat tight ends in the system and work in tandem with each other. So he knows these types of secrets. So to try to unleash a weapon that a lot of people think should have been unleashed a long time ago against a coach that knows your team arguably better than anyone else in the league, probably not an ideal point. But the one point that I do want to make for those that are saying this is the opportunity for them to unleash it, the Raiders have been one of the 3 worst pass defenses in the NFL. They struggle against tight ends. Typically they have. Opposing tight ends averaging 5.1 receptions this season, 51.1 yards, and a half a touchdown each game. So if there is an opportunity for success to be had, it's against the Raiders at this point in terms of testing your tight ends. They just lack the personnel at safety and at linebacker to really be effective against the position. We see this with the
Right.
Patriots all the time. Kyle Duggar is very adept at being able to, you know, defend tight ends. But when he's out of the lineup or struggling, tight ends go off for big yardage. Ravens Mark Andrews did it last, a while ago. The teams have had success, and it's going to be a difficult run for the Raiders to be able to contain guys like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Of course, Deron Harmon's in that backfield. He knows the Patriots very well. He's been here before. Pretty good, but he's more of a downhill run defender. He's not someone that's going to get up there and start mixing it up with the tight ends. Even the linebackers, when you look at guys like Denzel Perryman, he's someone that is more of a downhill run defender. Jayon Brown is someone that is better in space than he is in man coverage, but he's on injured reserve right now. So they're going to be able to scramble a little bit. Darian Butler's going to have to step up at the S linebacker position. Can he be enough? That's the question right now. Is New England going to exploit that hole in the Raiders defense? Well, that could be a good combination and a good question for your boy Q and I when we cross the streams tomorrow here on Locked On Patriots, and the Raiders and the Patriots go one-on-one as they get set for their matchup in the Nevada desert this coming Sunday at 4:05. But I thank you, my esteemed Countess of Claz, for lending your clairvoyance and also for lending your wisdom and counsel here each and every week. I really appreciate you joining me today, and thank you so much, Claire.
No, you're welcome. It's always great fun to be able to come on, and you will quite often let me talk tight endage. And even if I did repeat myself 3 times, I do apologise. But yeah, it's too much fun. So how can I not be here?
It's a casualty of tight endage that we've learned to live with, Claire, and that's something that is, the excitement level has to come out. You have to get it out 3 times in order to really be, thorough in your assessment of tight endage, and we appreciate that. And folks, what we appreciate most is you joining us each and every day and making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Now that you've made us your first listen, please make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. All the news that you need in every aspect of sports, professional, collegiate, amateur, you name it, they're on it. And they also give you the take of the day. What more could you ask for? Download Locked On Sports Today on the Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, we thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. So smash that subscribe button and download, subscribe to, and follow Locked On Patriots wherever you get your audio podcasts. On behalf of the esteemed Countess of Claz herself, ClazzyClare Cooper, I'm Mike Debate. Continue to stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone.